Thank you, Matthew.
Good evening, everyone. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start our meeting tonight with a roll call.
Jonathan Warhart. Joseph Santoro.
Chrissy Rylander.
Shane Centrella.
Julie Luby.
Nora McCarskey.
Eleanor Bishop.
Carol Kiak.
All right. And first, let's... Very nice. Love the contribution. Let's have approval of the agenda. Let's see here. Would everyone like to approve the agenda for this evening?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Everyone in favor? All right. So, let's see first. So the first thing we have on tonight is the student participation, the student showcase.
So we have a whole lot of students here tonight. Ms. St. Hilaire, are you now finally gonna let me know what we're doing? I'm so excited. It was so nice, just if I could say, during Pledge of Allegiance, to hear all of these little voices with us is just the spirit of why we're all here doing what we do. Amazing. I think order matters because I think we're spelling something, but it's a mystery. I'm usually much more in the loop than this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I wonder if we have like one child from every grade, maybe? Kind of looks like one from every grade.
I have to be a fifth grader this year.
All right.
I'm not as
Are you smarter than a fifth
I
grader?
am not. Trust me, I am not. But unfortunately, one of our fifth graders couldn't make it this evening. But Board of Ed members, family, friends, I am so excited about our showcase today. I have a year in the review in the eyes of kindergartners all the way up to sixth graders. And these are truly their words about our school year. And as you listen, I hope you'll hear all the wonderful things they've been learning, our school and district goals from their mouths, which is just so touching. Honestly, when we were practicing, I was getting chills because I was just telling them the letter that they're talking about. I didn't tell them what to say. And so without further ado, we're going to start, and it's going to spell out a word. I hope you'll be able to say the word with us at the very end. All right.
Hello, my name is Declan, and I have the letter. I am in the second grade, and I have the letter W. And it stands for welcoming community. One of the ways that I feel welcome in school is that the principal always says hello to me in the morning, and so does my teacher. Another way I feel welcome is in morning meetings we play a fun game called Black Museum. So there's two guards and you have to stay still while they're looking at you. But when they're not looking at you, you have to try to move. Thank you.
I'm in the 4th grade. I have the letter H and it stands for hard work. Thank you all the teachers for the hard work this year. I really appreciate them and I hope to see them next year and so on. Thank you.
And I'm Miss St. Hilaire, and I'm not really a 5th grader, but I have the letter E, and it stands for engagement. And I will tell you that the student who was going to speak tonight told me that he feels that all of the students in his class and himself are really engaged in the learning. They like to raise their hand and participate, and he thinks school is fun.
Hello, my name is Kaylee and I'm in the 4th grade and I have the letter S. S stands for support systems. I like how he has support systems at school because if someone was having trouble with something, people would support them and encourage them to keep going. And I have supported many people and many people have supported me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Blake. I am in kindergarten. My letter is T. My letter stands for teachers. One of my teachers are my art teacher, Miss B. She teaches us lots of art. It's hard to create stuff that it's complicated. It's good to make art. My other teacher, named Miss Reyes, she teaches us lots of music, and when we try to do our concert, it was lots of work. Thank you. Hello, my name is Skylar, and I'm in kindergarten, and I have a heart, and what I really love about school is having fun recess and all my friends and teachers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ayla. I'm in 3rd grade. I have the letter E. It stands for Empowered Student Voice. This year, one of the units we learned about the human body, and my teacher let us pick a body part to work on.
Hello, my name is Riley and I'm in the 6th grade. I have the letter R. It stands for Ready for the Future. I am ready for the future, not just because of the learning we've done this year, but also because of the communicating that we learned. I think it could really help when I get to middle school. Thank you.
All right, did you find out what we spelled, everybody? Boys and girls up here, what did we spell? Winchester.
Wow,
Excellent
wow,
work.
wow, wow. You guys are amazing.
That's a good year.
So nice to hear what our schools feel like through your eyes and with your voice.
Yeah, great job, everyone.
All right.
It was great to see you out.
Guys, great job.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, great job, everyone. That student showcase was a fantastic way to get close to the end of the school year for our last meeting. Could we have our student representatives report?
Ethan first.
Sure.
Hi, Ethan. Can you be big and loud? Okay.
Hello, my name is Ethan. I'm in second grade. This month is our last month of second grade. We had a great year reading, writing, and doing math activities together. We are excited to celebrate all of our learning with fun activities in our classroom, including an A to Z countdown to third grade. Pre-K friends will finish the school year by building strong friendships and celebrating all the amazing learning that they have done together. They will enjoy fun activities like bubbles, sidewalk chalk, lemonade day, and have a summer birthday celebration. In their final units, they will explore animal habitats and learn about sink or float in math and science. These hands-on activities will help them ask questions, make predictions, and have fun learning together as they end a wonderful year. Kindergartners are wrapping up the school year by learning uppercase letter formations and new trick words. They are using these skills to do even more writing and math. They are learning to write number sentences to go along with addition and subtraction to finish the year in CKLA knowledge. They will learn about American presidents. First grade is wrapping up the school year by strengthening reading, fluency, and comprehension skills in math. And they will finish the year learning about time and measurement. They will also learn about the beginnings of the United States and explore westward expansion. First grade has several fun activities planned, including an ABC countdown to celebrate the end of the school year. One thing I'd like to see happen is to have reptiles visit Hinsdale. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ethan. Great job.
Great
Great
job,
job,
Ethan.
Ethan.
His name tag. You want to give him his name tag?
Oh, Ethan, would you like to take your name tag home with you?
Thank you.
Violet, welcome.
Thanks,
You're
Ethan.
so
Nice
welcome.
job, Ethan. Welcome, Violet.
Good evening, board members. My name is Violet Bishop. I'm in fourth grade. For school activities and events, the Scholastic Book Fair. The PTO held the buy one, get one free Scholastic Book Fair last week. Every student got a free book during the PTO book giveaway on Friday. Thank you, PTO. Pearson Field Day was a huge success. Each class wore their class colors and we rotated through fun stations. The PTO provided popsicles for us afterwards. Last Friday, Miss Parent came to the Pearson School to visit with each grade level to tell us the summer scoop on all fun events that the Beardsley Library's summer reading program for this summer. Miss Parent shared facts about special guests coming to the library this summer and shared a fun science experiment that can easily be done at home. The experiment taught us about Newton's law of inertia, and some students succeeded in sinking their minion into the glass. It was a lot of fun. For our academic highlights, third grade students continue to learn about monarch butterflies and migration, weather, and climate. Recently, the third grade students took a nature walk around Pearson School where they discovered milkweed. For fourth grade, students designed and built models, bridges, then tested their bridges and collected data. We went on a hike at the Winchester Land Trust last week in Winchester. I will tell you a little bit about the hike. One thing that we learned is that there were a type of trees called beech trees, but sadly they had a disease called the leaf curl. And it also used to be there was a field and it used to be a plane landing. And the family in the flood of 55, they delivered food when other people couldn't get it.
Fifth graders are learning about order of operations and multiplying and dividing fractions. They are reading a fictional story about a kid who goes to fossil camp and discovers a missing fossil. Sixth graders are so excited about their last few days of Pearson School. They celebrated with a full day of swimming, eating, and having fun at Boulder Ridge. Their promotion ceremony is scheduled for June 18th. One great thing about Pearson is the hot lunches are pretty good. I love art. Every time we have art class, I love the art projects we work on. We made portraits, and we did weaving in paper, which was cool. In music, we learned how to play recorders. I was able to march in the Memorial Day Parade. That was fun. We're excited to get a yearbook so we can remember our friends and good times this year. Thank you for inviting me to share Pearson School happenings with you this evening.
Thank you
Great
for sharing,
job.
Violet. Nice job.
That was, no, I'm sorry.
Jinx.
Whole lot of awesome stuff.
That was a great student showcase, and thank you to our student representatives. You both did great. I loved having everyone here. This is the best part of this meeting as far as I'm concerned, so great job, everyone. Now, we have the opportunity for public comment. The Winchester Board of Education welcomes you to its business meeting. There are 2 opportunities set aside to hear comments from the public. We will welcome and encourage public participation as a valued part of the communicating input with the Winchester Board of Education. We appreciate your adherence to the following. Complete the requested information on the sign-in sheet. If you wish to speak, state your name and address when called upon to speak. You will be allotted 3 minutes to share your comments. Please be advised that it is not the practice of the Board of Education to engage in dialogue regarding commentary. The superintendent of schools will be directed by the chairperson to prepare an appropriate response in a timely manner. We appreciate your time and thoughtful commentary. The Winchester Board of Education. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Is there anyone wishing to speak?
Great job.
Is there anyone wishing to speak? Thank you. Okay, with seeing none, we can move forward to the approval of minutes. Item A, minutes of regular board meeting, May 12th, 2026.
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
All right. And we'd like to have a call for votes on that. So,
Yep.
everyone in approval? All in favor?
7-0.
All right, thank you. All right, item B, minutes of committee meetings, May 26, 2026. Teaching and Learning Committee.
Motion to approve?
Okay. For a second. Thank you. And let's have all in favor?
So that's gonna be
Sorry, it's not us.
Ellie,
Not me.
Shane, John, Chrissy, Joseph, were you all yeses?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, because only people who were there can
Yep.
vote, so
The rest
5-0.
abstain.
2.
Budget and Finance Committee.
Make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
second. All in favor?
6-0-1.
Yep. And Policy and Bylaws Committee.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, perfect. All in favor?
2-0.
All right, 2-0. Nice of you.
0-0-5.
All right, moving on. So we didn't start the meeting this way, but as many in the community are aware, we are a community. As the Board of Education, the children in our community are part of it. As many are aware, there was a tragedy that took place last night. A member of our community, a large someone that had a big impact on our community lost her life, and would just like to have a moment of silence and remembrance of her for just a moment. Thank you. So as a community, we just finished We just finished, thank you. We just finished, what would say would be a very difficult budget season. But thankfully, I would say as a positive to a very difficult budget season, we were able to pass on the first time around, which is not common in our town, as many know. So I would say that would be a positive, looking for the positives of a very tough budget year. And I would say looking forward, we're looking forward to another good year, and looking forward to, I'm looking to see what our study brings forth, and having another successful year. And glad that the community showed out to show their support and pass the budget on the first go around. So now let's go on to the superintendent's report.
Pass all those minutes. Thank you. Very happy to be here on our last board meeting of the year. Before I dive in on some of the details within the superintendent's report, I would like to invite Nancy to come to the hot seat for just a moment. You can turn the mic on just in case you want to laugh or say anything while you're there, but this is not only our last regular board meeting of the school year, this is Nancy's last board meeting with the Winchester Public Schools, unless you call an audible between now and June 30th, which I'm not recommending. In her dozen years of service to this district, I'm going to say Nancy has attended 1 or 2 or 714 board meetings, and always carried herself with grace, impeccable ethics, integrity, and wisdom, and has guided this district through financial hardships and messes, and kept us functioning through a lot of transitions and a lot of superintendents and a lot of crazy. And she has been a steady force for a long time and given so much service to our district. So I'm sure, board, you will join me with the leadership team has a little parting gift for Nancy to thank her from our leadership team, because we would not be the team we are without her guidance and participation. We know that retirement is likely to bring some gardening for you. And we thought we would get you started with that. I'll say on behalf of the leadership team and the board, we so genuinely thank you for everything you've done for the children of Winchester and the adults of Winchester and the whole community.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, you got me good.
I wouldn't have got through these 2 years without you. Not even a chance.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
So Barb, it might not come as a surprise that I'd like to welcome you next. And I'm going to say that so many of the things I just said are so also true. Barb, you are amazing. Your leadership, your grace, your humility, your graciousness, your wisdom have guided Pearson School and our leadership team through so much. I think about my transition coming in here and how incredibly helpful you were with that, how gracious you were, how supportive you've been, and the legends of all the many years that you've been. Is it also about a dozen years? That's what I went to say it, and then I was like, it can't be the same, but it can be. Your leadership in Pearson School is beyond reproach and a record enviable by every administrator. I have worked for principals, I have been a principal, I have worked amongst principals, I have been a superintendent to principals, and I have to say that you are you are tippy-top and a model, and anyone coming into the field should look to you for how it's done. I am so grateful for your leadership, kindness, grace, and everything you've done for the community and for the staff and for the children of Winchester. And we also have a little something for you as you roll into retirement. Moving to Florida in like 2 weeks' time. It's not like a long transition.
We'll drink in the hand.
There you go.
I would like to say thank you to the board for all of your support, your dedication, the time that you put into supporting us in the school system. It's been an honor, a privilege, and I couldn't do one day without the leadership team here, just working alongside such experts and such people that I revere with so much respect. It's been really, really rewarding to try my best to help every student and do the best I could, but thank you for your support, and it's been an honor. Thank you for your
She literally is going to the beach. So jealous. Yeah. So those were the highlights of the superintendent's report. Few other things from the update I'll just draw your attention to. The roof project is officially in with the state. The application is in. It turns out that's quite a process, and I actually have to be the guy to do it. So our wonderful project manager, Roger, and I sat together and have submitted. As you also know, our hot water system went kaput in sort of the same moment, and that project is getting underway as well. The Board of Selectmen did approve moving forward with it as an emergency allocation and just do it without, without any holds on it. So they've already approved a not to exceed budget. We got an estimate today, I think, that will fall within that, so it continues to move forward. The town is taking the lead in partnership with us to make sure it gets done and keeps everything able to function during the summer.
Could you remind us that Pearson needed something else before? Was it a boiler?
Yes, so
Okay.
we have an entirely new heat
This is
system,
new.
all those big, beautiful boilers.
Right.
And now this is, for those of you who've been down to the bowels, there's the one room that's all beautiful and clean now with the nice new boilers. This is the really icky room across the hall that has, I brought to committee meetings, there are 2 smaller boilers and 4 what look like the hot water tank in your basement maybe. One of the 2 boilers is kaput. They're both leaking, only one of them has a motor. Of the 4 hot water tanks, which are indirect hot water sources, all 4 are leaking, 1 is kaput. And then the circulator is what blew most recently, throwing this into disarray, but they've loaned us one to hold us over. And so they'll work on that this summer, and they'll be able to keep us up and running while they work on it. They'll do like a end run around it just to keep us functioning, because we have Park and Rec in the building, we do the summer meals in the building. So being without hot water was not an option.
What's the charge for that, for the allocation of monies?
It came in about 100 and,
90, it's 93,000 and change, so we're under the 100,000, not
Okay.
to exceed that the board of selectmen.
so it's a big job, not as awful. Earlier in the year when we were trying to figure it out for the capital plan, one bid that we saw was like $350,000, which in hindsight we think was from someone who just didn't want the job. Because it was too small a job in a busy marketplace. So we're thrilled to be under 100 and getting done.
Our heating system is 3 boiler system. Do you know that?
I think there's actually 4 things down there, is that possible?
I thought it was
There are
3,
4 down there now, I think
but is
I
it
think there'll be 2,
eventually?
one to back up the other.
Are you talking about the heat or the hot water?
Heat,
The heat,
Heat, yes, there are multiples down there.
but it's 3, I believe, okay.
and I think they don't all run in tandem, I think
No.
one is meant to be
They
redundant.
rotate.
I'm just trying to remember. Anyways, doesn't matter. Nice.
I'm trying really hard to get us a director of finance and operations. The only update I'll give you today is we've been doing interviews, we had applicants, and we're working really hard on it. I know someone who would be a wonderful fit and if that person's listening, it would be great to call me tomorrow and say yes. Just on an off chance. And let's see, preschool enrollment. So as you know, at our last meeting, we finalized what to do with preschool. We did have to shut down one section of preschool. So we have now 48 seats, of which we invited 30 students to participate, because we have to hold 30 students who were not going to be placed there by an IEP. So those have been almost completely accepted. We have a tracker where we're looking to see if anyone doesn't accept, then we'll move on to the wait list. We have about a dozen people on a wait list. A few people have expressed disappointment in there being tuition at all. In compliment though, some people have said, can I pay extra? So much like everything, there are people who feel all the different ways about it. It would be nice if one day we're in a position to not charge and just have a universal free preschool. But at this point, I think it went pretty smoothly, and we are setting it up so that it's paid over, it's a annual tuition, but it's paid over 10 months. To hold your spot, you're paying the first month, so we'll have that up front. So we're setting up systems, communicated with families, and it's in play.
What's the expected tuition for all the people? Just curious.
Let me answer that later by email, because I don't want to give you wrong information, but we invited 30 students who would be paying students. So if everybody paid the full amount, which was $1,200, right? So that would be 30.
I thought it was 16.
Is it 16? I'm speaking off
It's
the
in
cuff.
the minutes.
Yeah,
It's in the
somebody look,
minutes.
I'm making it up right now, 12 or 16. But there will be students who are Husky A, meaning you don't pay at all, or Husky B, meaning you pay half. So I can't tell you for sure, because not everyone has, they've accepted their spot, but they haven't yet deposited, so I really have no idea.
Okay.
But the maximum would be 30 times,
Page 7 has it in the minutes, 1,600 for full year.
so the maximum would be 30
Full
times
day.
1,600, but it won't be that, because many people will be
Okay.
eligible not to.
Yeah.
Right now, they've shown the spreadsheet I look at shows the acceptances and if a deposit is made or Husky A, but most people have just said yes and still need to do that step.
Okay.
In the fall, can you give us an overview of what the parents are saying as this evolves? Like how many parents wish we didn't charge, how many parents are okay with the charge? You said that some parents want to pay more, I'm not sure what that means. Can you give us a report on how it's being received in the community?
To the extent that I can know that, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, there was certainly a lot of fuss on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
but that probably isn't the most reliable source of
Right.
information. But
Right.
nonetheless, I mean,
Right.
the conversations on Facebook tell you what's in people's thoughts.
I'd like to know if there's any sort of backlash, or how, like I said, how it's being received.
There were definitely some people who were frustrated by it, for sure. People who said, I need my child to be going to a full-day preschool so that I can get a second job, so that I can afford my home.
Sure.
And now if I have to pay for that care, it's sort of negating the point of the extra, you know, so.
But, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't every area school around here not, you know, like Torrington or whatever, charging for pre-K? So
Yes.
everybody else is charging. We were just the exception, not the rule.
I can't swear everybody,
giving
but certainly the
free.
preponderance.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. And we opted to match Torrington, which was the lowest
16,
charging in the
right.
area.
And then one step further is if you were to pay for childcare, it would be significantly more.
100%
Correct.
yes.
So,
I will also just draw attention to the fact that we took our budget book. We did not redo every single page of it, but we redid the important pages and have an updated, it's the Board of Ed revised budget on our website because we felt it was important to capture it, but I didn't redo like the pages of narrative explaining like why we wanted positions that we no longer have in the budget, and because making the budget book 3 times is a lot. But nonetheless, the website does reflect the most recent budget. We have, from the last cut of $1 million, we eliminated a preschool teacher, a preschool para, a grade 2 teacher, 2 interventionists, the Director of Data and Student Information, and the Special Education Coach, which was a swap out we talked about at the committee meeting instead of the Assistant Director of Special Education. And we took 2 positions out of the budget, the 2 SSOs, and have moved to keeping those but paying with non-recurring grant funds. So that was the impact of that last cut, mitigated by a reduction of $285,000 in our tuition bill to Gilbert and $320,000, I think is the actual number from the state.
So how many of those positions that we eliminated, actual people lost their jobs?
So we're shuffling folks for the most part. I think we have talked one of the pre-K teachers into going into special education. So we are trying to not have people like on unemployment. So we eliminated a pre-K teacher and that person is taking a different position.
Right, so nobody lost their job.
Well, I'm gonna look at the list and say that for sure. The pre-K para, we had vacancies, so someone will have a job. The grade 2 teacher moved. 2 interventionists, we have vacant now. The Director of Data and Student Information, that person resigned during the year, and we're filling that with a service that's less expensive than having an on-site person. That is shifting a lot of responsibility to other staff. That one's a little tricky, but we're obviously making it work. The special education coach had resigned, so.
So nobody in essence lost their job, only because there's a lot of chatter about people lost their jobs, and that wasn't true.
Jobs were lost.
Right, for.
Positions were lost, jobs were lost.
But not
Specific people were not personally hurt.
Right, people were not, like, we didn't go in and fire all these people that were working.
Correct. Well, a couple I had to unfire. There were people I actually told them they were losing their jobs, and then based on you guys' actions, I had to unfire
everybody
them.
that was working is still working in one capacity or another.
Or left the district.
Or left already, right.
Right.
Okay.
Like, can you clarify, page 16 speaks about a 2nd grade teacher departure. Is that the 2nd grade teacher that's marked on page 13?
Probably, yes. Not having that page in front of me. Page
16?
Hold on. Policy, here we go, hold please. 2nd grade, are you looking under leavings or under
departures,
vacancies?
right up
Under
here.
departures.
See this person here?
Yes,
Is
that person
that-
is like moving to New York, I wanna say.
Okay, so when we say page 13, updated budget, 7 positions, this person left.
Right.
That's the grade 2 person that left.
Yep.
So
Had
if
she
we,
not been moving, somebody would've lost
she-
a job.
She would have been cut,
Right.
right.
We got lucky. In some cases, we strategically chose things where we thought that was likely to happen. But honestly, I mean, you can't cut a grade level just because someone's moving. It happened
Right.
to be a very lucky coincidence that
Right.
the grade level where the class size allowed us to do it happened to also include a person leaving.
Your pre-K teacher too also happened to have special ed certification where you can try to convince that person to move over into special ed.
Right.
Right. But pre-K teacher position got cut.
Right. Yep.
You lost faculty.
Yes, we will have less people working for us.
Correct.
100% yes.
Less support for the students.
Correct.
Yes. I wanted to draw attention to some donations that we've had. Very much thank you to Bartlett Tree, there's probably one more word in the name of that.
Experts.
Bartlett Tree Experts, I apologize, for the donation of a beautiful pickup truck. It's here, it's gorgeous, it's registered. Nancy, it is registered, right?
I've seen it in action, so.
It is registered, right?
Registered and insured.
Okay, I saw Dave driving it today, I was like,
I hope so.
whoa! Because last I heard it wasn't. Yes, so it is now officially on the road and it's beautiful. Big upgrade for us. We had an anonymous donation. I don't think I'd be giving anything away to say to you that the Board of Selectmen stipend is $1,000 and a Board of Selectmen member asked to anonymously donate that to defray the cost of the townwide family barbecue that we did last night as our special event. We pay for that with grant funds, no appropriated dollars. It's paid for through CHAMPS and FRC because those grants are specifically designed to increase community engagement in our schools, so very appropriate use of grant funds. the return of that $1,000 will leave more money in the Champs account, which means one more activity for kids come the fall. So that was a lovely donation. And you heard the kids mention the trips to the Winchester Land Trust. We had 2 grade levels take that trip, and all of the associated costs, transportation, were paid anonymously by, I don't think I'd be going too far to say, a staff member, and that staff member's family chose to sponsor that so that our students could have that experience. So that was pretty cool too.
That's awesome. That's very nice.
So we are very grateful for those donations all. I mentioned the family barbecue was last night. Huge thank you to Tiffany, who is a planner extraordinaire. One of these days, she's gonna realize she could leave us for career and event planning. Don't tell her, though. She really had her hands around the whole thing, and Renee gives her so much support and guidance. The event was spectacular. We had over 600 people attend, all presumably our current families, but with little people who are not yet our students, and some older students who come back with their families. There were 2 ice cream trucks, my personal favorite part of the day. We piggyback it along with Pearson's Field Day so that we have bouncy houses galore for the kids there. Again, like the PTO sponsors the ice cream trucks, and so we very much appreciate their support. It's really, you know, that story Stone Soup, where everybody like throws a little something in. I mean, it's just a bunch of kids running around a field, but next thing you know, it's a party because we had the bouncy houses and we had the ice cream trucks, and our kitchen puts together, and our staff, Nancy and Kathy, were working the grill, and Jess Micchio. Burgers, dogs, really good watermelon, shockingly good watermelon. I don't really understand how that worked out, shockingly good. And all great stuff and goodwill all around. It was a wonderful event.
And the pasta salad was delicious.
That's probably
That
Jimmy's,
was-
I'm guessing, right?
That was
No?
very good.
Our kitchen made that pasta salad? It was
so
great.
delicious.
Don't act so surprised. That's good.
It was fabulous. No, just, they make kid food usually. This was by no stretch kid food. It had like grown-up vegetables in it and stuff, you know, peppers and.
I saw Kathy fresh off the grill. She looked like she was
I was
out
fresh
there.
off the grill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't need to get a facial this month.
Yeah, steam.
And it was probably 10 degrees cooler than last year's barbecue, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
still
That's
hot.
It was, I showed up just for a short time, and everybody was having a ball, and they were playing soccer and bounce houses. Yeah, it
Super fun.
was awesome.
Yeah, that's what we went, and we said, we'll let them leave by 6:30 so we can get home for baths, and it was 7 o'clock. I'm like, where are they? Where are my children? Having fun, where are they?
I can only assume that every Winchester child slept like a rock last night between field days
A
and,
lot of energy.
yeah, they ran hard.
When I woke Rick up this morning, he said to me, he woke up, he said, what the heck happened?
He must have
So
really
hard
slept like a
last
rock.
night.
That's funny. And I'm just going to do a quick preview for you. I know I've been teasing it all year long and telling you about our incoming website redesign. Our current website really lacks organization. For the main thing, it's just sort of kind of stuff is all over the place and hard to find places. So we have switched website companies and have been working with their design team. They're fabulous. So Matthew has the live site. We haven't cut over to it. We're going to do it July 1 because we rather launch it and have it really ready. So this is the homepage. You'll see, first of all, on the right-hand side, I'll just preview for you. I know I have notes of what I wanted to preview, but see those buttons? They take you to important places. Let's see. So homepage, I wanted to show you. Okay. So you've got all those different, Matthew doesn't need to click on them, but you can go directly to the school lunch menus. You can go directly to registration materials. You can get to the calendar, all those ones on the right. If you are someone thinking about working for us, you can go right to the Apply Now button. You can see how it's like lit right up. You can't miss it. If you're wanting to know about our budget, we'll show you that in a little bit, but you can get right there. And then Matthew, do you want to just hover over the 4 main categories? So all of the things that are district-wide information, Board of Ed things, departments, and then schools, and we've got Little Heroes Preschool, Hinsdale, Pearson, like that. So let's go down the homepage for a sec. You'll see on the homepage there is a news section where we can pop up anything we want to point out to you. You have access to a district calendar where we'll have all Hinsdale, Pearson, and district-wide events. And then down the bottom there, you can see our Facebook feed. That awful cringy box with my picture is going away. That was their design. I said absolutely not.
Come on.
So that's leaving, and in its place, there will be a box that's going to say District Spotlight. I think I landed on Spotlight, right? So we're going to populate that first with a spotlight on the Teacher of the Year, Paraeducator of the Year, and Staff Person of the Year. And we'll swap that out a couple times during the year, but yeah, that's not gonna be me there. That's in the website, but it didn't need to be front and center. It's so cringy. So let's click on About Us for just a quick second. So we are working on building this out literally every day. Matthew and I try and squirrel away for a few minutes, and we're having so much fun. But just a little information about the district. I showed you the buttons on the right. Let's go to the Board of Ed main page. So if you don't have a picture there, you're not going to be allowed to leave the room until Matthew snaps a picture of you. You can probably see better than me whether you're on there or not, but we've gotten the vast majority of our staff photographed, so you guys have to too. Let's go to budget. So this has everything. It has the recordings from the meetings, it has every version of the budget, it has email the Board of Selectmen, email the Board of Ed. It's got everything our current site has, basically. Matthew's been a really good sport and has been maintaining the existing site and this site so that when we're ready to cut over, like, it has all the good stuff. Let's click quickly on agendas and minutes. So if for some reason, like, this is easier for you, you can get to our board packets this way, or if you ever want to go back for a packet, you don't have to search in your emails, they all are there.
And it's tied to YouTube, the videos? Yeah.
The videos, yep.
You don't have to go to open up another tab to YouTube?
It'll
sit there.
It will open in a new tab,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you don't
okay.
lose the website.
But you don't have to play and look for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's
We
nice.
chose to run all of the meetings in just one list for the year because we felt like community members don't really know the difference between a regular meeting and a special meeting and a committee meeting. So the meetings are all there. They're in order by when they take place, with the newest at the top.
When we transition to a new year, what will happen?
Matthew, want to click, there should be archived meetings or
Okay.
something. So we'll move that table. This is what it looked like in previous years.
Yeah.
We'll move that table as is to the archived page,
To the top?
Great.
to the top of the
Yeah.
archive page, but
Yeah.
it'll still look like that because why wouldn't
Sure.
we, since
Right.
it's already nice and tidy, and we'll start a new list for the new year. Let's click on departments, HR quickly, I'm just showing off now because we had so much fun doing this. But again, so you can apply, you've got Title IX, it's just all there, the contracts. That was always just a pet peeve of mine, that to find the contracts, you had to go to like departments and it was listed, so. We have Little Heroes Preschool, which we have to build out the content, but you see it coming in there. And anywhere you click on our webpage, whether it's at the bottom of a page or the top, anytime you see our tree, back to the
There's your
top.
home.
So, I'm tickled.
It says, staff directory, how easy is it to get a hold of teachers, for parents to get a hold of teachers? Okay.
So if you click on it from the district level, it has all the humans, and they're organized by district and school leadership, district and school staff, Pearson faculty, Pearson staff, Hinsdale. But if you go to any of the schools, this is something we were just working on earlier this week, actually. So now we're on, was that Hinsdale's page? And then you go to staff directory there. Mary Hinsdale staff at the bottom. We still have to rename that one as staff directory. Then you just see the Hinsdale folks.
Does it generate an email if you hit their names?
Sure does.
Okay.
That's great.
Wow,
You don't have to cut and paste an address. Okay.
that's impressive.
Phone numbers for the schools are there too at the bottom? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
It's looking good.
And
Yeah,
if you,
that's
so you can't get to it right now because it's not live, but if, as you experience it, you say, geez, I wish I could find something more easily, or I wish there was a page for this, let us know. Like, we know how to make it.
Their titles are their grade 2 teacher,
Yeah.
kindergarten teacher, okay, so they know.
That's what we're going for.
Love it.
User-friendly, professional.
How about curriculum? That
So
has to
we
be up
have a
there.
tab for that.
Okay,
There's stuff there, Matthew, you can click it. It's not my favorite page. Under departments, teaching and learning, or curriculum, whatever it says.
okay,
This is one of the pages that needs lots of love, but it's there.
okay.
That's just brought in from the current website. So if you see anything and you're like, that's what it is now. And if you see something that looks great, it's because we're working on it. I think it was once built with love and then probably not updated
It
and
was.
kept up. So we're giving it some love.
Nice.
Oh, I see, science, math, social studies.
Yep.
July 1's a deadline for, but that, is this, with that in mind, the July 1 deadline?
So it didn't pass? Oh, shucks. Either way, you can't post what you don't have, so.
Right.
What we do have though is already here, and we're gonna
Okay.
be working over the summer on
Gotcha.
ELA, so.
Okay.
Well, that's the best news I heard all day. So I think that's good for superintendent's report. Sorry, I went on a while, but I'm so excited.
You mentioned the SSOs are paid by grants, or will be moved over to be paid for grant?
Out of the 440 account.
I was gonna ask which.
That's what you
Okay.
guys had suggested.
Yeah, okay,
It's our only
Yep.
place to go.
thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have item C in communications, and number 1 is finance committee. For finance committee report. No.
Oh, that would probably be Kurt.
Yeah, that should be Kurt.
Should be.
But
So,
So finance committee, what would we want to report out? We met, we talked about the cuts and how they were ultimately taken, if
Yep.
you will.
for sure.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, teaching and learning committee.
Yes, so we were presented with information about the data and analytics tool that we are now using, which seems to be very helpful. We learned that before implementing this system, teachers, staff members were relying on random Google spreadsheets to share information. So this keeps students' information all in one place, so can be accessed by everyone, which is great. So related to like behavior incidents or special learning needs or absenteeism or really everything related to the student. So that is a really great thing. And we also talked about the report card revision committee. It's made up of teachers, parents, all kind of looking at other area report cards and seeing how we can tweak ours to be a little bit more informative and helpful to show students progress.
Beautiful. Policy and bylaws committee.
Yes, we sent a number of policies to the full board for deletion, and one policy for discussion and possible approval.
Jonathan, what year were you born? 2000, right?
2003.
3? Okay, just wanted to remember that for when we get there.
Yes. Yes.
We now have the Jonathan rule for
If
policy.
it's older than Jonathan, then.
Then it must be gone.
Okay.
It's not
That's
entirely
fair.
scientific, but it's a nice little comparison
Okay.
way.
It's not gone, it needs to be updated at least. Item 4, the Gilbert School Committee.
Yes, the Gilbert Core approved a meal price increase from $2 to $2.50 for breakfast and an increase of $3.75 to $4.25 for lunches. And they also approved the special ed MOU and sent to WPS board, but We know that there's questions being discussed and it's being gone over. And it was policy 4135.11, emeritus status was also approved by the board.
Very nice. Thank you, John.
What are the questions on the special ed MOU?
I am not sure. It was mentioned to me that there was some questions between Mike Susi and Julie.
So I asked Kathy and Sarah to review it, and they met with Mike to have discussion around things that they wanted to make sure they had the shared understanding. They reported back that they do have shared understandings, and I will get it to Kurt to sign as the annual event.
Okay.
But they were good questions that were worthy of a conversation before we just blindly sign.
Yep, okay.
So that was Gilbert School Committee, but item D, liaison reports, Gilbert School Corp.
Oh, that was
That was
probably
actually-
school
yeah.
court, right? Because the
Yeah.
Gilbert School Committee didn't meet. so.
Exactly, so. Thank you, Jonathan.
Perfect.
Moving on, information items, item A, enrollment reports.
Okay, this is the last one that we'll do this school year. On the over-under, the Winchester Public Schools pre-K 6 program is up 8 students across the year. In the net, obviously, kids came in, kids went out, the net is 8. And Gilbert School grades 7 through 12, Winchester students down 9 students across the year, primarily in grades 8, 9, 10. And that's it for that.
Moving on to attendance reports, item B.
Attendance reports. We will have June data, but you won't see that until we meet in August. But we are ending the year, it would seem, somewhere around 94% average daily attendance. In my mind, 95 is the gold standard. It would be a great place to be. We're at 94.4, so you know, I'll feel really excited and giddy when we get the whole year to cross the 95 line, but May was at 95, April was at 96.7, so we're dancing really close to that line. And I think that in the state's eyes, 95% is considered fabulous.
Awesome.
And for chronic absenteeism, I think the bar sort of in my mind is to be under 10% chronic absenteeism. And we are at 10.1 for the year. Any one month taken on its own is hard to look at because depending on the days of the month and if there was a vacation for 2 days and so people took the Friday before, you know, one day can make the difference and skew it.
Sure.
So the fact that we're netting out at 10.1%, we're really close to a really great place to be.
Item C, personnel report.
This, we treated a little bit more, typically we stay very literally to anything that happened between the last meeting and the current meeting, just as a way to create guardrails for what you're looking at. This time we've extended to the end of June. So you'll see on here retirements like Barb's and Nancy's, as well as teachers who are leaving at the end of the year, and other retirements is what largely is making up that list. Our new hires are obviously to fill those spots. And then currently, we are still looking for special education teachers primarily. Obviously, still a director of finance and operations. We've been interviewing for the innovation teacher and are moving forward in that process. So we're in a pretty good spot. We don't currently have any classroom teacher openings, depending on the shifts in the wind. If anyone swaps over to special ed or something, you know, we may end up with an opening, but
Sure.
right now our classroom positions are all filled.
Good.
So where it says special ed 2, that's 2 people you're looking for Hinsdale?
Yep.
2 people at Gilbert, 1 at Pearson.
Right. And I think actually the 2 at Hinsdale, one of those is actually gonna be a pre-K teacher.
Okay.
Right, so that one really should only be 1 when we think of it that way.
At Hinsdale, okay.
And the transition program is not on there. That should be as well. So technically, we are still looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in all.
Moving on, monthly budget summary.
So on page 17 of your booklet, the first page, I'll just draw your attention to the fact that this will continue to move because there's still June left in the fiscal year, but You know, Nancy is a pro at projecting what's outstanding and needs to be paid, and she thinks we're gonna end the year with $4,000 left over. When you consider that as a percent of a $25 million budget, that's insane. It's scary how close to that line we are. I mean, that's like the margin of that is crazy. The non-lapsing fund we haven't touched, and the grants number, we'll talk about on the grants page because it's too hard to follow on here. The next page is the top line of that, the appropriated budget broken out a little bit so you can see how we got to the 4,000. There's nothing on here we haven't really already talked about. We hired, for example, a speech and language pathologist as a contractor, not an employee, so we're up in the professional technical services, overspending there, but underspending it in the salary line. Same person, same plan, different method of hiring. The Chromebooks are under property services instead of under supplies, little things like that, but largely the drivers are the special education, tuition, and transportation are the ones that really blew our showcase.
So that pupil transportation largely affects special ed transportation?
Yes,
In the whole.
because the rest of it is predictable.
Yeah.
We have a contract with the bus company, so we know going into it what that's gonna cost.
Okay.
Also McKinney-Vento.
Yes,
Yeah.
McKinney-Vento is the other wild card there,
Mm-hmm.
which is blossoming.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, the grant page, as it sits today, I'll just draw your line, the 682 ARP MOE, I'm proud to say is the same amount it was when I got here.
How much would the SSOs come out of here? How much is that total?
I'm gonna call it 100,000 loosely,
Okay.
50? For two of them?
For the year.
That's it? Okay. Really? Great.
25 apiece?
50 something, 60, yeah.
25 apiece.
Okay. That's it for the monthly budget summary. Moving on, item E, Sun Meals 2026.
That doesn't track for me, but okay. The Sun Meals, I just wanted to really, less for you guys as more so for the community. It's on our website. We'll send it through email blasts, but we want to make sure everyone knows about the summer schedule. This is federally funded, the summer meals, but there is weekly grab-and-go pickup for the children who participate in the Park and Rec program in our schools, as well as the summer school program at Hinsdale. We feed them. But if we're not already feeding you that way, families can come pick up meals on Wednesdays between 3:30 and 5:30, and we'll share that. Probably you have to have a child, obviously, to do that, but the kids don't have to be with you. So it's a really great program.
Nice. That's great. Item F, BOE summer retreat dates.
Yeah, so, I feel like I've had about 11 retreats in the 2 years I've worked here. Typically, this Board of Education has chosen to do Board of Ed retreats, as most boards do, in the summer, because that's a good time to reflect and set goals for the coming year. This board had a mid-year retreat just because so many people were new that it seemed like a really great thing to do. Kurt went through his calendar, and we have some dates to propose, so we thought we could just ask you all to peek at your calendars and see. These are sort of in the order of preference. They're all in July. We're picturing like a 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock kind of window, sort of like a late morning. We picked 10 because that's when the library opens, and that seemed to be a really conducive spot, but if need be, we could move to the schools. We were looking at either July 13th or 14th, or the 11th or the 25th. 13th, I think, was the first choice, 14th was the second choice. Are you able to, and I'm guessing like Jonathan and Joseph, if you know far in advance, you can just make sure you're available?
The 13th and the 14th are a Monday and a Tuesday.
Yep,
And then you said the 11th and the 25th?
yeah, which are Saturdays. Figured it's worth a try to ask.
I can't do the 25th, but any of the other ones.
I would prefer a weekend, just because I do have work
Yeah, it has to be a weekend for me.
and not.
Yeah.
What's the time?
So July
I
11th?
can't do the 11th.
Is there anyone who cannot do July 11th?
I may not be able to.
I can't.
Can't?
No.
Cannot. What's the time again? 10 to?
10 to 1, we thought?
Okay.
Oh, let me see. Time my July 11th event is.
I could do the 11th, I couldn't do the 25th.
Okay. So at least 3 of you said weekdays are problematic, so we will
Keep to the weekend.
we will stick with a Saturday. The 25th, at least 2 of you have already said no to. The 11th, was there anyone who was definitely no? It was sort of all at once. Nora, you said something, but I
I'm a
couldn't.
maybe no, but I don't know for sure.
So maybe yes.
I'm a maybe yes.
I'm a maybe yes, depending on what time my event is on the 11th.
So maybe Chrissy and Nora, and everyone else thinks they'd probably be fine that day?
Maybe. I haven't planned that far out yet.
Well, but if you
Yeah.
had this on your calendar, then
Yeah,
you could
I
plan
thought-
around it.
I know there's something coming up, and I don't remember which Saturday in July it was, but yeah, it's okay. I'll put it on my calendar.
I guess the other option might be one of the Saturdays when we're much closer to the start of school.
So August.
Yeah, Kurt and I didn't really look at like the tail end of August. We
That
were
would be
trying to go
better.
for a July thing, but,
August would be better for me.
Okay.
Later in August,
I agree.
like when school starts up, the week of the 24th. So you know you're around.
so, Saturday, August, that's the new teacher orientation week. So how about the 22nd of August?
A possible.
I can do the 22nd.
As of now, I can do the 22nd, I just, yeah.
Anybody remember what our first day of school is? I don't think it's on my calendar.
26th. So right before,
So right before, like, we're,
week before.
everybody's kind of back, at least.
Yeah, it's a pretty good chance.
Or the 29th,
I
I
probably
guess.
could do the 22nd, I could probably do the 29th.
I feel like the 22nd would be
Better than
easier.
July.
22nd, at this point, I think good for me.
Forward, I just have to tell my boss a certain amount of time in advance. That should be fine.
Okay, and you're good on Saturdays?
Should be good, yeah.
Chrissy, you think you're good?
I can do the 22nd, yes.
And Shane likes it. Nora, you
Mhm.
probably could. Ellie,
I
you're
think
nodding.
they can do it too.
Carol?
Probably, because I have my grandkids that week, because my daughter's a teacher, so I take them the week because she's got to go back a week early. So I'll have the boys, but they can come and sit. They're fine. They're 11, they're 12, and
You're bringing them to the retreat?
I might have to bring, we'll see.
They can hang out in the library.
I know, they can hang, they're good kids, yeah.
Okay,
They bring their
so
pads.
I don't know if
to
that
go.
works for Kurt, because we didn't even look at August, but
Tentatively, the 22nd of August.
yeah, I didn't look at my own calendar. I probably could do that. It wouldn't be the worst idea. I'm sorry, this is dragging us out.
It's okay, we're all
Yeah,
here.
so July 22nd, that's what we're shooting for?
August 22nd.
Sorry, August 22nd, okay.
July 22nd is my
No,
birthday. We're
yeah.
not having a
No,
retreat.
come on, you want to do it on your birthday? No?
As much as I adore you all, no. Okay, so we have a tentative August 22nd. Kurt and I are meeting tomorrow, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the agenda for that, which may impact it, because depending what we wanna do would determine what kind of facilitator we might want. If we wanna- Our bylaws is something that might be a good thing to work on. For that, we might want our attorney versus a CABE person, so
Nice.
we'll play around with it. We'll see where we are, but we'll shoot for that August 22nd.
Sounds good. Moving on to item G, future study update.
Yes. So, Tom and Jack, the two fellows doing our study, have been very busy. They met with Paul Harrington, they met with Mike Susi and Holly. They've met with some community members, I believe. They, I know the board was offered the opportunity if anyone wanted to talk. They've done some of that. They're looking at comparably sized towns, trying to come up with ideas for us, kicking around everything so that when it's all said and done, they'll be able to say, you asked about this. Yes, no. If it's a no, that's easy. If it's a yes, here's what's good about it, here's what's not good. But they're gonna take us through all the things they were asked to look at, and one of the things in the study motion was, and if something else comes up along the way. So they're doing a really comprehensive job. I meet with them next on Monday to sort of take stock on what they've accomplished and what lies ahead. Make any further connections that they need to continue, but I think they're well into it. I think it's moving along nicely. I'd like to, so just hearing how hard that was, we have our first board meeting of the summer, August 12th, and I assume, although I didn't look, that we probably have committees 2 weeks later. So I'm gonna suggest, or August 11th, yeah. So I'm gonna ask you to hold August 18th at 6 p.m. The consultants are available, the Hicks room is available. I don't think it's reasonable to try and squeeze the sharing of that study into a regular board meeting, just gauging by, I mean, these meetings are never really short. So they're available that evening to do it as a special meeting to provide us with their report and slides. We'll have it from them in advance. So when it's completed, we'll post the agenda and the materials and get them out to you all so you have plenty of time to review it. I think probably as an agenda for that evening, it's reasonable to think we would allow them to present and that you all, having had an opportunity to review the materials, could ask them questions. I don't think we need an action item that evening. I can't imagine that you're gonna be like, oh, here's what we're gonna do.
So what night is this?
Tuesday
August
night.
18th, Tuesday night, 6 p.m.
I won't be here.
Really?
I'm away.
So I was asked by this board to do it in August.
I return on the 18th. I'm en route, but I won't be here until the evening. Unless you want to do the 25th, you want to do it the 19th?
I think the 25th is committees and within minutes of school
Yeah,
starting. And,
sure.
I mean, we could put it off into September, doesn't matter to me, but the board was looking to have it in August.
August, right?
We could check to see, I just picked the Tuesday because that's what we do, but we could look at Thursday the 20th. Without looking at anybody's calendar, I'm sort of guessing. I have no idea what boards.
So when are they gonna have it by? Cause could we do it the 13th?
I'm away. I'm away from the 9th until the 18th.
So you said tentatively though, the 20th?
They were set with the 18th. I can ask them about the 20th.
Or you could just make it, well, I don't know if you want to make it a special meeting of the committees, where committees have to show up anyway, on the 25th, 6 o'clock, and then committees start it after that.
I don't even have that committee date on my
I don't
calendar
have any dates
yet.
of committee, yeah.
But I assume it is committees on the 25th.
That's
I would probably not be inclined to give away the committee night. I
beginning
feel
of
like this
August.
deserves its own due.
Sure.
There's no committees in August?
Committees in August.
Okay, in that case, if we can have the room
Thursday.
on Tuesday, the
Tuesday.
25th, when did we say the first day of school is?
The 28th?
Oh, no,
26th.
thank
That's
you.
the next day.
So I would, why,
No.
why not Thursday?
Thursday, the 20th,
Yeah.
Sure.
See if they're available Thursday the 20th.
8:20, 6 p.m. Okay, hold that tentatively and I'll, why don't I send that quickly now while we're moving to the next thing. So I don't think I have anything else really to
Okay.
share on that, Sue.
And then item H, pre-K expansion concept update.
8:28. Okay. The update is that after extensive review and analysis, it turns out that our current Hinsdale School is actually built beyond what would be supported in an enrollment study. It was special waivered to be allowed to be bigger than allows you full reimbursement. So if we were to want to add on to it, it wouldn't be at the full reimbursement rate. It gets knocked back because we're past what the state says we need to be built to. So I would say that that concept is a little bit tabled for a minute for further review.
How
But I
bad
didn't want to
is-
just leave it hanging out
How
there.
big is the difference? Negligible, or apparently just,
Like,
we
we're
should look
already
at
built
it?
past what we would build to
Uh-huh.
by adding 2 or 3 more classrooms.
Okay, oh. Right.
If we were to, like, fill those spots and say there's a need, could that?
So interestingly, the enrollment study allowed for that, like that's, the guide does the, here's your current numbers, and if you add these 2 more classrooms, here's how many more students you would have. And apparently that's already, like, we're already that big.
Already capacity, okay.
So one of the things they're gonna do is come out and we're gonna try and walk around and figure out why we're so filled if we're theoretically overbuilt. One of the things that I'm finding is that I think we're using large spaces for small things. And so we may look to see if over the summer we could like split 1 or 2 large spaces into smaller spaces and thereby freeing up a couple of large spaces, things like that. But, so the analysis has definitely been worth the work. But I didn't want to not loop back and tell you it's sort of not progressing in the moment.
Do you think this would be something like in February, or the fall, that you could be examining and progressing on, or do you think it's a winter?
Well, I'm gonna keep
TBD?
trying to think about it and
Oh,
try and
okay.
figure out creative ways. I asked the architects to keep trying to think cleverly.
Okay, so we'll keep it on the agenda, just keep visiting it.
And you can always do it, it's just that it knocks back your reimbursement rate. So if
Right.
it became something where we said, yeah, we want to do this thing and we want to build it out and we want to charge tuition and we want to fill our seats, whether they're our town or staff's kids or other towns, we can choose to do it. It just means it wouldn't be 100% reimbursable. It might be, we'd still be eligible for the bonuses. They had to research if the bonus gets knocked back. One definitely doesn't, one might. So we're still playing.
Got it. All right, moving on. Item I, staff feedback comments.
Yes, I'll be quick with this. I just wanted to share with you because I was really so thrilled to see this. We did a survey of staff a little bit back, just thinking about the upcoming summer and staff development and what we might want to focus on. And so we asked what went well this year. The 2 things we focused on in last summer's staff development were high-quality instruction, defining it, describing it, and really figuring out what that meant to us here in Winchester. And the other was positive student supports. And so we said what went well with these 2 things, and then the follow-up questions were, and what do you think we need to work more on in the coming year? And so I just pulled out those 2. These are all the responses. I didn't like cherry pick them, but I'll highlight a couple. One person in response to what went well with implementing high-quality instruction. I implemented high-quality instruction primarily in science, and it has literally changed how I deliver instruction and my expectations of my students. I love that. Working with grade level partner and instructional coach to plan and adjust reading language arts lessons to fit with the high quality instruction initiative. We were able to learn, try it out, and then reflect in order to determine what works. Students were engaged and excited about the lessons. Assessments proved learning was happening. You know, those are the things you want to hear teachers saying. As for the positive student supports, which was last year when I had gone around the district doing listening sessions and meeting with families, and everywhere I went, people talked about student behavior and students' ability to manage themselves as like a really hot topic. So this was important work for us. So I love this comment. This year, implementing positive student supports went very well in creating a classroom environment where students felt safe, encouraged, and motivated to learn. Using strategies such as praise, class celebrations, choice opportunities, and clear expectations helps students develop stronger social-emotional skills and increase positive behaviors throughout the year. Students also responded well to collaborative problem-solving and restorative conversations, which strengthened classroom community and encouraged accountability. These supports contributed to improved student participation, independence, and a more positive learning environment aligned with HQI practices. And finally, a welcoming classroom environment promoted equity, inclusion, and student engagement. positive reinforcement throughout the building, encourage respectful behaviors. Teacher supports were proactive across the building, clear expectations and routines, help students be successful. I don't know, I feel like if we write a book, those are the things you put in the foreword, right, or in the margins to show like, these are good ideas, they work.
When I read this, I saw the morning meeting, that was like,
That's what I
that was a
gonna
big
say.
winner.
Yeah.
And as was time to collaborate, working with a partner, those two things resonate. You're mentioning PD, would you guys be revisiting the morning meeting work and thinking that?
Continuing, yep.
And looking at it as a curriculum, if you will, and not so much a curriculum, but making it better?
Yes, so it is a strategy that we will continue to use, continue to support. Think of it as like part B. We'll be continuing on with that. We've got a couple days planned in August to continue that work.
You had a comment that they appreciated developing grade level morning meeting slides. So did teachers develop the morning meeting agendas?
So there's a structure for morning meeting.
Uh-huh.
There's a greeting, there's a message, there's an activity, there's 4 pieces. And so across grade levels, teams work together because they, on the smart board, can like have the morning message up there or the problem of the day. And so they collaborate on getting those pieces ready. We provided lots of startup stuff, but teams, you want some situational awareness with it, that it's meant to be responsive to things that are going on.
So they must have prepped like the template before, the day before. So I just want to say it's a lot of work for teachers. Thank you for doing that, teachers that are watching, because that's a daily update. That's a timely update. That's gotta be ready update. But I'm glad to hear that someone was excited to do that. So I think that's helpful for the culture. And that's really good. How to find time for your colleagues is another difficult thing, but, that's the challenge of education.
All right. Action items. Item A, policies for possible deletion.
Okay, I'll set the table for this. There are 14 policies here. We can sort of run through them. We've done this in committee, of course. Facetiously, we joke and say if they're older than Jonathan, they definitely need a good looking at. One of the problems with older policies is if that they're not required policies, then they're not in Shipman's database. And if they're not being updated by Shipman, there were several that when I wrote to Shipman and said, just want to be sure it's okay to dump this, and they write back and say, yeah, we recommend you do delete it because it's dated, it no longer matches the law, and it's not required.
Got it.
So if we hold on to policies that are not required and therefore not supported by our attorneys who provide us our policies, then we would have to pay them to review the policy and update it outside of what we already paid them. So we would really want to be committed to something if we're keeping something that's not required.
Sure.
Like we kept the parking lot policy, is the one that always comes back to mind for me. It's a weird little policy that we want. Makes sense in our setting. So it's not that we can't have them, but we should be very judicious in that choice. All of our current policies, each section has this one philosophy statement. It's silly, for lack of a better way to say it. It's not a substance. The next one on our list, the adult and continuing ed, that's something that we're statutorily required to provide, but this policy talks about it as if we do it. The statute is that it must be provided. We pay to participate with Ed Advance, who provides it. We're too little to do this ourselves. So this policy is not required. We follow the law.
Yep.
So Ed Advance and what we do covers that. That
Right.
was my question. Okay.
So we do all the things we're supposed to do, but the
All right.
policy is a moot point. The career in voc ed is another one that is from 1996. 7 years older than Jonathan, and not required, and really,
It's a secondary.
it's much more secondary. I mean, I thought about that, and I said, well, I guess, in everything we do, we should be pumping up the ideas of careers, but it is more secondary, and it's not required, and it's very, very old. Even older is the next one, from 1995. That's gotta be about a 31-year-old policy, based on the age of my own kid.
But what's in its absence in this one?
So this policy repeats what the Connecticut law says. The Connecticut law says that you can impose sanctions against students who lose stuff, and that the superintendent can figure out how. So basically, the law says what this policy says, it just says it with more current references. So this policy is law. In other words, we don't need the policy because the law already dictates this practice.
But we have policies of Title IX and the law dictates that practice. So, and we adopt that.
Yes. Yes, we do. I think our Title IX policy encompasses a lot of different things and pulls it together. This very specifically is this one specific point that we don't need a policy to do.
But what happens if materials do disappear? Then it's arbitrary.
Well,
And
it's
it
not
might-
arbitrary.
Well, it could be in the absence of policy. In other words, it gives the board to set procedures and adopt guidelines. Superintendent's authorized to do that. In the absence of this, a future superintendent not having this policy,
The
the
law says-
law would guide them. Then why are we adopting policies?
So, the policies that we have, we are required to have by law.
Right.
You are required by law to have a Title IX policy. You are not, so
Not
all
required to have
policies
this.
are grounded in the law,
Right?
but we are required by law to maintain a Title IX policy. We are required by law to have a purchasing
Gotcha.
policy. That's, you had me for a
Yeah,
minute, but
okay.
I caught up. So this one is not a policy that we're required to have, and in fact, the law is that the board may impose sanctions. For example,
Okay.
this two-sentence policy, says our attorneys, provides that the district may impose sanctions against students who lose or damage textbooks and other materials. The policy largely repeats existing Connecticut law, which already authorizes boards of ed to charge students for lost or damaged textbooks and materials. Because this authority already exists under state law, a separate board policy is not necessary. If the board wishes to retain this policy, the legal citation should be updated as it has changed since the policy was adopted in
Gotcha.
'95.
In which case, we have to incur lawyers'
Right.
fees to update the law, this policy in accordance with the law.
Right.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what I'm gonna say for most of these, right? So the policy regarding instruction and curriculum, the fact is, this list from 2023 is already beyond
Outdated.
obsolete. This list of things that we're required to teach changes every time the legislature meets. There is statute, it's 10-220 something or other, I think, it's probably at the end of the policy. 10 dash, it's like 22 something, 10-228, I think, or 220.
221, high school
Yeah.
graduation. fund.
And it changes constantly, and again, it's, we are not required to have this policy, and the law dictates what we must do.
Okay. Okay. So in other words, we know enough to know that our curriculum should reflect the law, which should include things like gang membership, social media, all this other, even though we're not gonna, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Self-checking for testicular cancer, listed right next to teaching about the Holocaust. The legislation is a little crazy. It's just, the list keeps growing and growing and growing.
Okay.
But we're very aware of what's in the law. This policy from '96 about a library bill of rights, is also not a policy that we're required to maintain. And recommended that we no longer maintain this 1996 policy. The evaluation of special ed program is not a required policy under the law. Basically, this policy just says that I'm supposed to give you an annual report on special education programs. We talk about special ed programs constantly. You can direct me to give you a report as often as you'd like. You don't need a policy to
But are
say
you,
that.
are you required to do so by law?
No.
Because there's a lot of special ed policy in here that I'm wondering how this all relates to.
So this one is just the
Or
one
special
page,
ed
we're
requirements.
coming up on others.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need a policy to make me give you a report. Give you a report as often as you'd like. Live animals in the classroom is not a required policy. So it comes under the heading
How
of,
often do animals come in the classroom?
not often. Our STEAM teacher at Hinsdale brings in some funky things. We bring some things in on STEAM night. We have therapy dogs that visit from time to time. we always make very judicious and careful choices about safety and allergies and all of those things. Kids don't just bring their own animals in or anything like that. The next one, so swimming is an important life skill. The Board of Ed believes that we owe it to our students to give them the best chance to learn to swim and as early as possible. This is not a required policy. We do not have a pool. And in fact, after reading this closely, I double checked again. The only thing in here that caught my eye, because the only place that our students swim is our after-school champs program. Students go to the YMCA, but like it's not ours. It's not for us to have the policy. It's the YMCA, but in here it talks about that our students couldn't go unless there was a qualified lifeguard who shall monitor the pool. We double checked just to make sure. Of course, that's a policy at the YMCA. Nobody's going anywhere near a pool without a lifeguard. And everything else about this is,
You know, the only thing I was thinking about, though, is we have a lake, right? So I
which
don't,
is no part of the school
none of
program.
this, okay.
We don't use the lake. Like, if we wanted to
We don't-
adopt swimming as part of our curriculum, then
Right.
we would need a policy around how we manage it, but we don't teach swimming.
We don't bring kids down to the beach, that's a
No.
summer thing?
We
Okay, 'cause I've
definitely
seen
don't.
kids down at the beach, that's probably
We went
in
to
the
Long
summer.
Island
Okay.
Sound and waited to see animals as part of
Okay.
a science trip once, but other than that, no.
All right, just checking?
Did you want them to come? We could bring them to your house.
No, no. Just checking.
Maybe yours, Carol, you wanna host?
We're good.
Hey, I live on a mud, it's actually a lot safer, so,
Um,
5 feet deep, it's good.
okay, the religious observances policy. I'm just gonna read this one to you. It applies to this one and the one that follows it. These policies are not legally required board policies, as public schools are already governed by federal and state law, as well as Supreme Court and First Amendment precedent regarding religion in schools. Public schools are prohibited from endorsing or inhibiting religion under the Establishment Clause and Free Exercise Clause, regardless of whether a board policy exists. If the board wishes to retain either policy, we recommend that the policies be reviewed for legal compliance and updated as necessary, as they were adopted in 2000.
So policies, so either, it's like two buckets. Sometimes policies are written, or laws are written that says you have to have a policy.
That.
And then laws are written that you don't need a policy, but you could have a policy.
Fair, yep. Or you could have a policy that has nothing to do with the law.
That's right, just because we want that
It's
policy
a
as a community.
precedent for the school. like,
Right.
You set a precedent in your
Okay.
school system.
So that's the two that are there. The homeschooling one is not legally required and raises several concerns. The attorney was adamant about this one has to go. First of all, it requires things that we're not allowed to ask for. It suggests participation in ways that they don't recommend we do, and the homeschool laws just underwent all kinds of changes,
Yeah,
and
there's
this
a whole
is
brand new stuff.
way out of compliance with
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
So they like ran like they were on fire on that one. The preschool special education policy, not legally required. We can have a preschool without a board policy. This basically restates requirements already contained in the IDEA and related special ed laws. In addition, the policy states that the superintendent will establish administrative practices and procedures, but it's unclear whether they've been developed. Repeal is therefore recommended. If you want it, you've got to ensure that it accurately reflects current district practice and law and blah, blah, blah. Shipment is, albeit it sounds funny to say since they write these 17-page elaborate policies, but that when it comes to policy, they are also minimalists in the sense that if you don't have to have it, they don't think you should. Special ed program from 2014. This is not a legally required board policy. The district is already obligated to comply with IDEA 504 and ADA, which dictate all of the things that this mentions. The policy largely restates these legal obligations in a generalized manner without imposing any additional direction or requirements. Accordingly, repeal is recommended.
So now, we take action to this?
If anybody wanted to make a motion to delete those 14 policies, that would,
I make a motion to delete items A1 through A14.
Do we have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor?
A1 through A14.
Okay. Moving on, item B, policy for possible adoption. One being non-resident student attendance.
So, quick background, when we went through the fives and got rid of policies, there was one that we thought we would keep, but it would need to be updated. Because again, like I said, even when they're not required, Shipman will occasionally say, hey, if you want this one, it's not a bad idea. So in your packet, I gave you a proposed one. I'm actually gonna hand you a new one now because the one in your packet, I basically cobbled together by looking at other districts' policies. Shipman read it, and I'm proud to say they didn't make any huge changes. What they did do is add an opening paragraph with some definitions, as only lawyers can do. So it's a proposed policy with a decision to you. When the policy committee met, they liked the idea of having a policy, and I'll just explain for a minute the point of this policy. This policy gives me the authority to, when a parent says, hey, we're moving out on May 12th, but I'd like my child to finish out the school year. It gives me the authority to grant that as long as they provide their own transportation. We're not gonna now transport them to some other place. And similarly, we had a few examples this year where families reached out and said, hey, I'm closing on a house in Winchester, but not until September 23rd. Can my child start? Well, we think that's in the best interest of the child. If you're coming anyway, why wouldn't we want you from the first day of school? So it gives me the authority to say yes to requests like that. It also allows, so that's what that first section, non-resident without tuition. Then it allows non-resident with tuition, which means that if someone said, you know, I live in the next town over, but I hate the schools there, and my child's having a terrible experience, I really want them to come to you instead. It gives me the ability to recommend to you guys that we accept a student. The parameters around that are that it doesn't have impact on staffing. So if we have a class size limit of 20 and all our classes are 20 and someone says, can I join? The answer is no, because it's gonna cost us money. I mean, I guess we could always choose to do it anyway because we're charging tuition, but generally speaking, the idea is we have open seats if we haven't hit capacity. So why wouldn't we welcome someone who wants to pay? If somebody is coming in from somewhere and doesn't live here, implicit in that is that they provide their own transportation. We're not driving to other towns to go get you. So for kids who don't live here and aren't just moving in or moving out at the tail end of a year, this policy sets how we would address that if somebody wanted to come to school here. So it explains in the tuition paragraph that it's based on the net current expenditure, which is a number, right? You know, it's probably about $24,000 for our district. It's available online. We would get it if somebody made the request. So if you like all that so far, then one of the things that I saw in other districts' policies that I thought was worth talking about was, would we want to do something different for people who work for us? So again, we're only talking about taking kids in a way that costs us no money. It's empty seats and no transportation. But let's just say Jonathan says, I'm thinking of coming to work here in Winchester, what's in it for me? And we say, well, Jonathan, you know, your kids could come here for free or for 10% of the 24,000 or 50% or anything less than what someone else pays. It's a really neat HR piece because Jonathan might say, oh, that's great. That way I don't have to figure out who's going to put my kids on the bus in the morning. I can just bring my family here. The kids go to school. At the end of the day, at dismissal time, I meet them back in my classroom. We go home as a family. So A, it makes it sometimes easier to hire a person. And B, if someone takes a job here and brings their kids here, they're never leaving. I tried so hard when I got here to recruit away a great special ed person who said, I live in Danbury and my kids go to New Fairfield schools because I work there and I'm not leaving until my kids graduate. Like once you know, nobody wants to disrupt their kids over their career. So it's a great retention tool in our HR toolbox that if somebody were to do that, they're not leaving. Then they're doubling down their level of investment in our community.
That doesn't violate any laws or rules about Nexus and?
Nope. Many school districts, it's actually in the teacher's contract that staff members have the privilege to bring their kids at either no cost or low cost. Gilbert's teachers can bring their students to Gilbert. It is not illegal, it's in many districts. And our lawyers reviewed this within the last 10 days, and never mind the last 10 days, the last 3 days.
Item 2, it's TBD.
Right, that's for tonight. That's for the
For the
discussion with you guys.
establishment.
That's me
I
offering
mean,
you guys
there's,
ideas.
it sounds like there's no cost, but there is a cost. Like if a teacher has to have more kids added to their classroom, that's more teacher time. There's a cost. Albeit maybe not in dollar cents.
Right, there is no literal cost. I also don't envision this being
And-
something that's broadly used.
Right, because, you know, a taxpayer would be like, I'm paying my taxes for kids that live in house. You know, how many kids we're gonna talk about that we're gonna educate outside the district, coming into this district? You know, I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box. That's all.
Right, so they would never take a class size above its limit, and we don't provide transportation. So an empty seat isn't costing the town anything.
Fiscally.
Right, well, you're talking teachers and then you're talking town. I'm saying,
Right.
you know, Bill Hester on the Board of Selectmen doesn't care about necessarily the teacher's workload of one more child. It's not costing the town a penny.
That I understand. I think I would want some time to think this through. We talk about tuition rate for staff. How do you calculate that?
You take the NCEP and decide what you want to do with it as a board. Do you want to say no tuition for children of staff members?
Is this the current expenditure that we report to the state, like the
Yep.
24,000 per pupil expenditure? And then down here it says 0%, 10%, so that's subjective to what we decide. Tuition for
Right.
the children, the staff members in K-6 will be whatever we decide tonight in those
Right.
parentheses of the established rate. Either 100% covered or not, whatever our percent would be.
And that's on the sending town, right?
No, it's on the family.
So they would have to pay out of their own pocket?
Yep.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, we're talking about two different groups of people. We're talking about people who don't work for us. So let's say a Torrington family says, my kid's being bullied in Torrington and I just don't want him in this school anymore and I really want him to go to Pearson School because Pearson School has eradicated bullying. They would pay the roughly $24,000 to send their kiddo to us. However, if Kathy has an 8-year-old and says, geez, I wish I didn't have to worry about leaving my 8-year-old in the care of someone else every morning and afternoon, I'd love to bring my 8-year-old, then the part in the parentheses, we're debating, would we allow our staff to do that without paying that large amount of money as an HR tool to say, we love you, we don't pay you very well, but here's this cool thing we can do for you, no cost to us, great benefit to you, and then you'll never leave because you're not gonna pull your kid out.
Okay.
I really like the idea of charging our staff no tuition to bring their students, allow their students to come. One of our objectives was that we wanted to help with retention, and this is a way of showing our staff members that we appreciate them. And I mean, we didn't accomplish very many of our board goals this last budget season. I think this would just be a really nice way of showing the staff that, thank you. Here's something we can do, and as long, like, there are all these stipulations set around it, where it wouldn't be costing the taxpayers money. It is valuable teacher time. I very much support 0% tuition for our staff members.
Yeah, I like that too. And this wouldn't be like a regular thing, like maybe a one-off every now
I
and
think
then.
it's probably fairly rare that people would take us up on it. Chrissy makes a really good point that the messaging of it is lovely. Even if not a single soul takes us up on it, for our staff to hear that, should you want to bring your children, we would be thrilled to do this nice thing that's good for you, good for your kiddo. Just the messaging of that alone has value for us.
Yeah, no, that's a great
Yeah.
idea. I like
I
that.
have a question on this, because it says non-resident without tuition, and then it says non-resident tenants with tuition.
Right.
So if we didn't charge them, so if we charged them, the first thing, and that's my concern, is the enrollment of a non-resident student will not impact the district's staffing needs. So if you have 4 kids and they push them over the limit, now we have to hire another teacher for another classroom.
We wouldn't say yes to that.
But that's with tuition, that's not without tuition. So if you read the non-attendance without tuition, that's not in there.
Yes, I could confirm
Do you
with
know
our
what I'm
lawyer. I understand what you're saying.
Because one's with tuition and one's without, so there's two separate categories here.
Right, so the without tuition is specifically the thing I talked about first, about people moving in and out.
Yeah, I understand that, but if we don't charge the student, then
I
they have the
understand.
right, because it's without tuition.
I understand. I
Okay.
think the lawyer will tell me that there's a way to just change the title of that paragraph to make clear that,
Yeah, I mean,
Because-
that's the only question I had, because it says that if the enrollment of, this is with the one with tuition, will not impact the district's staffing needs, I think that needs to go under the non-resident attendance too.
well, those are kids who are already in our schools, so. they-
Okay, well then something's gotta change, because
Yep,
that's.
no, I hear what you're saying. I
So-
think
so-
it would remain in that category. We might just change that with, we might have changed the title of the section.
With tuition or teacher.
Or staff member,
Or teacher
right.
kids.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That I'm sure, should the board decide to go forward with it, I can get the attorney, I can bring your point forward. I understand your point.
Yeah.
And just,
Okay, thanks.
assuming we were to approve it with no tuition.
Right.
Or you could make it a nominal,
You make it
$100
$5.
tuition, and then that just made it easier.
What's common practice here? So you spoke of one example, but what's the common practice in this situation? I think it's a good thing too, but what's the common practice?
I'm gonna say some districts have it in their teacher contracts, some districts just offer it, some people don't have it at all. I'm gonna say it's pretty mixed.
When I was growing up years and years ago, it was always a benefit. That the teacher, because we had a lot of teachers that lived out of town and their kids would go to school
I think
for
it's a good
free.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like more time with this to process this, because it's the first read that I've got here, and we still need to figure out the percents, but also the clause D, special ed.
The attorney added that to just protect us.
The board shall not act as a local educational agency for a kid, but where the special ed services are provided for a non-resident, supplemental tuition B, I guess it's an upcharge, may be charged.
That's how the law allows for if Carol wants to bring her child here, but her child has an IEP, the sending district or the family would have to pay that. We're not
Fair.
incurring costs.
Which is fair.
That's what this policy was lawyered for, if you will, is to make sure that it wasn't leaving us any exposure.
How do you determine those services, that tuition or fee? How is that determined?
The law actually kind of talks you through that. We pay that when our kids go to Region 7, when our kids go to magnet schools.
There's a formula?
Or we could do it, if somebody has a one-to-one, we just say, that's the cost of that. Like, we determine it. And if someone doesn't like it, they don't have to come here.
Well, I would say that we don't adopt this tonight. I think that you need to change your headings, and I think we need to review it a little bit here. And, if you're talking about number 2, C2 with percents to be determined, I'd like to think about all that. That's just my opinion. I would just say we just postpone for another month or whatever. Do we need this tonight?
No, except that it won't be available,
Until,
then we won't meet again to do this until August. And then if anybody were actually considering it for the coming school year, they wouldn't have been able to plan around it. Which, they've never had it before, but if we did it now.
Incentivized, yeah, incentivized for
Discussed in
hiring.
policy committee that, we would have the option to expedite it, unlike some others that go to just first read. I wanted to see, I kind of wanted to just send it first read, but I wanted to give the whole board an option if they chose to adopt it tonight, along with including each percentage in the parentheses to give the board a full option. My headspace is that we do delay it until August at least, but I think it gives us more time to chew on this issue. It's a very significant thing to talk about, especially with what we just escaped and went out of with that budget passing on the first try.
So August 12th, is What is our next?
August 11th, is it?
August 11th. So it is. Okay, so you said possible action on this, so that would look to,
You can just not take action. I mean, if anybody wants to make a motion, they can make a motion, you can, or you can just
Is
all agree
anyone
not to
adamant?
make a motion.
yeah, is anyone adamant about seeing this move forward tonight?
You said we're full of teachers right now, right? You're not looking for any teachers?
And we're not
Oh,
looking
no,
for any.
we are
We are
hiring. We
hiring.
need an innovation teacher.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but is this gonna be an enticement if we pass it to hire somebody?
Could be.
So, and one other thing, can we revise it if we so choose at a, like, if there is something missing, but to help you from a,
You got a couple months of revision, you have to go to committee first, and then push it out of committee, and then, again, the machination of the board. You can do first read, second read, or first read and then adopt, but you got a couple months there. So it's not like, I mean, I just think there's too many variables here, one being the headers, which worries me a little bit, and the clarity about who this really affects, and how this is gonna affect what kind of kids, and then what the rates will be. I just think tonight, that's just too much, too fast, and we were reading, coming into today's meeting, this bit, which,
It's just missing
the backside, I didn't
No,
have
it's
a,
not the backside, it's
It's
the
just-
definitions up top and the special ed at the bottom.
right, so, I just think there's too many moving parts for us to move this fast, I don't sense an urgency. Yes, you might be able to recruit one person in special ed, but you have to have all the elements of the stars aligning where that person would have students that are age appropriate and interested in bringing their children, they'd have to be employees that you're interviewing that are out of district. I get the wanna cast a wider net, but I also don't want to be in haste with something that is too ambiguous for me right now.
okay, what's the fallout if we did, like, what's the concern level, I think?
Well, it says, like, the rate, the special ed, that's what I was looking for. That last little word, and in accordance with applicable law. So it's already set, so there's nothing to change there in D. It says, in accordance with applicable law.
Right, the attorneys wrote that.
Yes, well, that's what I was looking for, and it's there. So there's really no discussion on D, because it says we're gonna charge in accordance with applicable law.
So there's not any wiggle room on that?
No.
We're following what's already been set forth?
Established,
It-
100%.
If it's a non-resident approved to enroll or continue to enroll in the district, and such a student is eligible for services, who determines whether that student is eligible? Would that person go through our IEP system and process and PPTs?
If they were eligible when they got here, then they would
They-
have already been deemed
They'd be an
eligible.
upcharge because they're already eligible. But what if they're here in mid-year, something's happening, and then the parent would wanna go to a PPT?
But then it wouldn't be under.
Whose PPT would they sit through? Their sending district, where the new employee
Both
is?
districts would participate.
You see, now that's a cost.
Can you ask the question again, please?
On item D in this proposed, it talks about, if a non-resident student is approved to enroll in the district, and such student is eligible for services under IDEA, the board shall not act as the local agency for such child. I get that. But what if this non-resident comes in, mid-year, we find there's an issue, we'd like to bring that person through the PPT system? Who's responsible for that?
Can I see the definition of non-resident again, Matt?
Page 2, under section D.
I know, I just wanted to see
But
how
it
they
says,
were
Yeah, yeah,
defining
it says a
non-resident.
non-resident student is approved to enroll or
So,
continue in enrollment
the
in the
way-
district, and such student is eligible for services under the individual, the IDEA. Okay, but it doesn't say when it's based, when they got here,
Which is-
or after, it doesn't say that, so it says if they're eligible.
Right,
So
and-
that could be, but it doesn't, like, if you write stuff that's so, I mean, it's clear there, if they become eligible or they need it, if they are eligible, whether they come with it or that we find out when they come.
That's right, but my question is, we find out when they come, what's that procedure look like? And who determines that? Is that kid sitting through our PPT, incurring a cost with our director of special ed? Or are they going back to the sending district
But would they
and
come with,
incurring the
with
cost there?
something?
Huh?
Wouldn't they already come with an IE?
No, I'm saying you can find that a kid is in need of services mid-year,
And that's what
while
they said.
already here.
Then it would be up to us to probably
That's my,
determine that.
I don't know that. Kathy knows that.
We would not be responsible for that. That would be, say the kid was residing in Torrington and their parent was not working here. We would contact Torrington to say, we have a non-resident student, family's paying tuition under state statute. You need to evaluate and determine. We then say, yes, we can meet the needs of that student. It's going to cost you X.
Okay, so if it's mid-January, it's a kid from Torrington, it's come into Winchester, we're finding issues in the classroom, we'd like to have them reviewed, like, you know, you go to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3,
Go to
you'd like to
Torrington.
referral, it would be back on Torrington
Mhm.
to do the testing.
Provided it's not a staff member student, yes.
Providing it's not a staff member
Yep.
student.
If it is a staff member student, what's the difference?
On Friday at 5 o'clock, we received a topic brief on professional courtesy placements, which is what you're discussing.
Uh-huh.
And in that case, the student would not be eligible to receive IDEA services in this district
Okay.
because they've given up their right to IDEA protections because this is not their district.
Professional.
And that particular practice has been in controversy within the state for a number of years because there are quite a number of districts further down.
So just to clarify, if we had a teacher that had a student in our school district and they now need whatever it is,
Services.
they need services, we would not be obligated to provide it.
Correct.
Okay.
But the student loses their right
In this district, they'd have to go back to.
to their
Torrington
sending
or
district.
wherever. Yeah.
So that employee would probably leave.
Mhm. I've had that happen before and I've not lost the employee in other
Okay.
districts.
As long as it's not
Um,
Danbury where I now have to commute. But I mean, these are just so rare, right? I mean, this is a policy that's dealing with probably a very rare case. And you have to have all these stars in the condition, have them aligned.
But the lawyers went over this, did they not? They
They
combed
wrote
over
it.
this?
They
Yeah.
wrote the whole back end of it.
So-
We pay them a lot of money to do.
Does
this
this,
work,
wait,
so.
Kathy Liller's still there. Does this, like, all these policies and kind of, yeah, speaking from your side, does this make you feel comfortable about this, or?
Given what I read from Friday, I'd like to go through that with Julie before I answer your question.
Got it,
That's why I don't think we should move ahead with this.
That's fair.
Kathy, would it kind of be like how if someone goes to a parochial school?
No.
they're done?
Because in a parochial school, we have a mechanism under federal law where we have to provide them with an individual service plan based on their fair share of the IDEA grant allotment.
Okay. That's all I needed to hear, so, I mean, me personally, I would agree, maybe we table this, because, right, might be pertinent to table it, so. Is everybody on board with that?
So does that need a separate motion or
No.
So, just not gonna move on it tonight? Not gonna-
excess things? Have the experts.
All right. So, item C, administrators contract negotiations, BOE representative.
Yes. So the one, believe it or not, in 2 years, I have negotiated every contract in our school district except for the administrators. The administrators' contract ends a year from now, and so in the year prior is when you go into negotiations. Under statute for certified, unions of certified folks, so the teachers and the administrators, you should have a board representative, and we will extend the invitation, I wanted to come to you first, to a Board of Selectmen member to observe. When I got here in September of last year, Nora was participating as the board chair in the teacher negotiations, and the lovely Linda Grappo was the observer from the Board of Selectmen. Just in looking closely at our bylaws and talking with our attorney to figure out sort of if there was something that ought to be done there. If Kurt were here, he was going to propose, you'll recall from when we did committees, that the board chair proposes committees and chairs of those committees. Technically speaking, negotiations would be a committee, although we really only need one person, so he was going to propose to you, and you can in his absence, the formation of a negotiating committee for purposes of administrator contract negotiations and nominate himself as the chair of that committee so that he would participate as the board chair. And then the board would vote on that. So if you wanted to make
Yeah.
that motion on his behalf.
Okay, so I'll nominate Kurt Werner as the board chair or the representative for the BOE in negotiating the administrator's contract.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Are there any other nominations? Okay.
All right, seeing none, moving on to item D, acceptance of school lunch employees contract.
Nancy's gonna tell you we've done this and you guys hear about the changes to the contract and
So we finished up negotiations with our food service folks, and there were some changes, some revisions that were made in the contract. There was receiver terminology still hanging over in there, so that was one of the revisions that we did. One of the things that they had asked for was to move their required submission date if they were going to be retiring from November to March to be eligible for a $350 retirement bonus. The rub being that they have to stay on for 3 months after they give us the notice, is at a minimum, but preferably stay through year end.
How does that affect the budget process, Nancy, if you're hearing this March 1st?
Well, the budget for food service is a somewhat volatile budget because every time that there's an absence, there's additional money spent because of having to bring in a substitute. The mix of folks we have right now is most interesting. We've got a couple of very senior people and then a lot of junior people, which is certainly helping us. But it's not a highly tiered salary schedule that they have. So
do we
they
have 10
hit the
people
top level very
in total?
quickly, very quickly.
do we have about 10 people in total, about 5 per building?
Actually, there are 4 per building.
So there are 8 employees, most of whom are not eligible to retire yet, but even if all 8 gave us notice on March 1 they were retiring, your exposure there is $2,500.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are 2 right now
Or
that
$3,000,
could, or
that's
3,
bad math,
I
but-
suppose, yeah.
Okay, so it's not.
So, but they haven't left us, and there's some that are well past the age of retirement, so, and they're enjoying it, so they're having a good time, and they love the kids, so
That was an easy.
as long as they're doing well, it's all good. Anyway, to continue on, the uniform shoe reimbursement limit increased by $25 from $150 to $175. One of the things that was requested too is if someone is requested to take over the kitchen manager position where ordering and such is involved, and it's for more than 3 days, they would like to be paid at the higher rate as opposed to having to do it for a full week of 5 days. Because it's not as if the lunch folks have a lot of vacation time. They basically have none. They have regular school vacations. The wage increase was 3% per year. They were most thankful for that. They are not paid a whole heck of a lot of money. An employee who works 90 scheduled consecutive days, and this was to encourage consistency of attendance. So if they work 90 consecutive days, then at the end of the school year, they will be paid an extra day of personal time.
Is that for every 90-day cycle?
No, it's just one time during the year,
Okay.
yes. Because in theory, somebody could do it twice in a 180-day school year.
Paid personal day per, I mean, how do they don't get paid per diem, they get paid per hour?
Yes, and so, but they have set hours, each one of them, so.
And so it
That's
would
how they
be a
would be paid.
variable based
Yeah, depending on
upon
the
their
person.
experience.
Yes, and some people work more hours, that are scheduled to work more hours than others.
What would the exposure there be?
The The exposure for the most expensive person would roughly be $64.
A day, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we added one personal day, so they have a total of 4 personal days during the year. The uniform shoe reimbursement, one of the things that we got involved in was that we would not reimburse them for sales tax, because when we're subsidizing the food service program with taxpayer-paid taxes, we can't use that to pay for sales tax. So we're looking at other ways for them to be able to order shoes through the school, but shoes are such a personal thing. I don't know how many people will really take us up on that. The district will pay for the Serve Safe certification, so we're assured of always having someone in the kitchen who is certified, and it's a one-time deal that lasts for X many years, and then the 6 hours it takes to go through the training. And
So
what,
that would only be for like one person?
Pardon
Or
me?
2 people? That would be for 2 people, not everybody?
correct,
Okay.
but actually,
One for
we're
each
gonna
floor.
have, we're gonna have a third person do it, yes. So, but she's already done it, and it's great because we should have somebody ideally in each kitchen at all times, so they can move back and forth, and they're very good about doing that, covering for each other. When a staff member is out, one of the things that they said was that, well, when somebody who has more hours scheduled is out and a substitute comes in, the substitute gets to make the money for all those extra hours that worked, and we'd like to have the ability to do that and just have the substitute work the minimal amount of hours. So that was one of the changes we made in the contract as well. So we're looking for your agreement to go forward with the contract. The union has already ratified it.
Seems fair.
Yep.
Okay.
What's the total, I don't know if you can tell us this, but what's the total cost increase then?
Oh, I did not bring that, I apologize. I can send it out to you tomorrow.
It was planned for though in the unawarded reserve.
Okay.
You know, we didn't know what it would work out to be, but it was
Yeah.
budgeted. Right.
About 3%. Okay. Okay.
So we have to have a board vote on this to accept
You
it?
need someone to make a motion, a second, and a vote.
So would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the food service contract changes.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That brings us to public comment. I don't have to read this all again, yeah?
I think you can ask if anybody wants to
Yeah.
speak, and if anyone does, you can make the comment.
Yeah, so, would anyone,
Before you close, let me say this. Both
Sure.
Tom and Jack agree that 8:20 at 6 PM can work for the future study presentation.
okay?
So please lock that in. The only remaining thing will be making sure we can have the Hicks room, which I will check with Terry in the morning, because I do think we want to be in here for that,
All right. Thank you.
but assuming, sorry,
Sounds good.
under the wire.
Now going to public comment. Would anyone like to make a public comment? Would anyone like to speak? And seeing none, I believe that is item 10. We're looking at, would anyone like to add future agenda items and any board member comments? So
I'd like to make a quick comment. I'm gonna try and not get emotional, but I would like to thank the staff at Hinsdale. My son is leaving 2nd grade, going into 3rd grade, my youngest. And so we are officially moving past the elementary school years for our family. I want to thank all of them for all of the love and support they have provided both my kids and our family over these last 5 years. My daughter was terrified, but then within 2 weeks absolutely loved being at Pearson, and she is now very excited to show her brother around next year, and we know this emotion is selfish emotion because they're my babies, but he is more than prepared to be successful at Pearson, and I do just want to take this public opportunity to thank the staff at Hinsdale. They have gotten all that they needed to be successful while at Pearson. I am just endlessly thankful to all of the staff members over these last 5 years. We will miss you terribly, but thank you for all you've done, and I promise we have been nothing but happy. It's absolutely not failing. It is doing a wonderful job for the students, and so from the Rylanders, thank you so much to the staff at Hinsdale for what you have done for my children and my family.
Thanks for sharing, Christine. Anyone else have any comments?
I'd like to just thank our PTO for all of their hard work throughout the school year, but also for coordinating the book fair, volunteering at the book fair, being a part of the barbecue, all of it. Popsicles at field day. I think it's so great. And it's really important to have parents involved, clearly.
And the barbecue was wonderful.
Yeah, it was super fun.
We all had a blast, all 4 of us.
Yes.
Thank you for everyone's hard work in making that such a wonderful event every summer.
You've inspired me both as well. So my daughter, my youngest daughter, goes to the play group, and you have to remind me what that is. FC?
FRC,
FRC.
Family Resource Center.
There we go.
Little Owls.
The play group, and both my daughters have now attended, and they come home telling stories about how much fun they had, and that is a great resource that the school provides, even before pre-K officially, but fantastic, and the picnic was great. So thank you for both sharing that, and thank you for a great school year and for all that you've done. I believe that now it's time to adjourn, so can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All right, all in favor? Thank you, everyone.